Satnam Karta Purakha Nirabhau Nirvara Akal Murat Ajuni Sapam Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sacha Jogad Sacha Happy Sacha Nanak Hosi Pi Sacha Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purakha Nirabhau Nirvar Akal Murat Ajuni Sapam Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sacha Jogad Sacha Happy Sacha Nanak Hosi Pi Sacha मैं नहीं कछ हो नहीं किछ आहे न मोरा अवसर लज्जा राख लिहो सदना जन तोरा मैं नहीं कछ हो नहीं किछ आहे न मोरा अवसर लज्जा राख लिहो सदना जन तोरा वाहिगुरु साहिब जियो कबीर त्यायो एक रंग नामदेव हर जियो बस है संग रविदास त्याए प्रभ अनूप गुरु नानक देव गोविंद रूप रविदास त्याए प्रभ अनूप गुरु नानक देव गोविंद रूप वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह I hope everyone is in Chardi Kala and in high spirits. So today we're back with another Sakhi of the Bhagats, and we are continuing off from the life story of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So yesterday we did part 1 of Bhagat Kabeer Ji's life story, where we spoke about their Janam Sakhi and their childhood until when they did Guru Taran Karna, means when they embraced a Guru, which was Bhagat Ramanand Ji. So we left off yesterday at when the Pandits, the Brahmins, they came and they complained to Bhagat Ramanand Ji that why have you taken a Julaha, a weaver, which is a very low caste, to be your disciple. Bhagat Kabeer Ji, he is going around chanting Ram, 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 and he's telling everyone that you are his guru. So explain this. So today we are going to talk about, continue of the Sakhi, where Bhagat Kabeer Ji now is going to Bhagat Ramanand Ji and they're going to have a conversation, and the Pandits are trying to humiliate Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So before I go into Sakhi, let's talk a bit about Bhagat Kabeer Ji's Bani. So I mentioned yesterday how many Shabads and how many sloks Bhagat Kabeer Ji has in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Of course, it's not entire of their written work which is in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. In fact, there is also a Kabir Panthi. So most of the time, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time especially, those Sikhs who would follow Guru Nanak Dev Ji would call Nanak Panthi. So the Pantha that follows Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And then towards, until Guru Gobind Singh Ji, now we are called Khalsa Pantha. Kabir, those who believe or those who still follow the teachings of Bhagat Kabeer Ji, until now they are called Kabir Panthi. And they take Bhagat Kabeer Ji to be their guru. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they have a lot of similarities in terms of their Shabads, in terms of their theme with Guru Nanak Dev Ji as well. And Sangaji, Bhagat Kabeer Ji's Bani is quite, it's on the point and they just tell you off. So they don't go around the bush, and what they mean, they will actually put it down. So some of the concepts that Bhagat Kabeer Ji's Bani or Shabads revolve around is that why Guru is the creator. So because I mentioned that Bhagat Kabeer Ji were born in a Muslim family, but then they were more inclined towards doing Simran of Ram, more inclined towards the Hindu tradition, Hindu practices. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji's concepts in their Shabads is that Vaheguruji is the creator. There's only one creator, either you're a Hindu, Muslim or whoever you are. And then Bhagat Kabeer Ji also condemned the caste system because they were of a low caste and they would just sound off these Pandits, these Brahmins who were so egoistic and saying that doing Simran or doing Bhakti is only for the high caste people. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji will also speak about Simran, they will also speak about Bhakti, they also spoke about the reincarnation, they spoke about the 84 lakh June as well, and one of their theme in their Shabads is also about the purpose of life, why we are here. So some of the panktiyan, like for example, Aval Allah Noor Upaya Kudrat Ke Sab Bande, Ek Noor Te Sab Jag Upja Kaun Pale Ko Mande. So in this pankti, Bhagat Kabeer Ji speaks about Aval Allah Noor Upaya, and they're using these words like Allah, for example, and they're more inclined towards the Persian, the Muslim language. And so Aval Allah Noor Upaya Kudrat Ke Sab Bande, that from that Noor, from that light, from Allah, from Paramatma, from Vaheguru, the whole creation came about. So who are you calling good and who are you calling bad? So this is quite similar to Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani as well, where they say like when the first thing Guru Nanak Dev Ji said was Ik Onkar, that there's only one Paramatma from which the whole creation came about. So these are just some examples of the Shabads of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So now moving on to the Sakhi, where Bhagat Kabeer Ji now comes to meet Bhagat Ramanand Ji, because Pandits complain about him being a disciple of Bhagat Ramanand Ji. So what happened was that now these Pandits, they come to Bhagat Ramanand Ji and they're complaining. They're saying that you have taken a poor, a low caste person, a Julaha, to be a disciple, and this is not becoming of a guru. And so while that was happening, then Bhagat Ramanand Ji then said that call this person, call this Kabir who is claiming to be my student, claiming to be my disciple, and bring him forward. So now these Brahmins, they go to Bhagat Kabeer Ji and they are sounding him off and they're being really rude to him. They say that, Bhagat Ramanand Ji has summoned you, and in fact you're going to be so humiliated. And just imagine, like for example, if we complain or we say something bad about a student and then now the teacher wants to see the student, and then we go to the student and say that, oh, you're going to get kicked, you're going to get beaten up by the teacher, you've got to be really scared. So it's about that kind of same situation. And in Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they are so cool about it, and in fact they say that Kaho Kabir, they said that Vaheguru, Bhagat Kabeer Ji is telling that Kabir meri jaat ko sabko hasne haar. So they are saying that Kabir meri jaat ko sabko hasne haar, that all these Pandits, everybody is laughing at my jaat, at my low caste. And then they say Balhari is jaat ko jeh japyo sirjanhar. And so now all these Pandits, all these Brahmins are laughing because they know Bhagat Kabeer Ji is going to get a scolding and they're going to get so humiliated in front of Bhagat Ramanand Ji. But Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying that Balhari is jaat ko, that I'm a sacrifice to this caste, to this Julaha caste, jeh japyo sirjanhar. From this caste, being born in this caste, I'm able to do Simran, I'm able to do Bhakti. And they're saying that the whole world is laughing at me, but I am laughing as well because I am in bliss, I'm enjoying. So upon reciting this, then they went to Bhagat Ramanand Ji, and Bhagat Ramanand Ji is asking, so tell me, you are claiming to be my disciple. When did this happen? I don't remember meeting you. I don't remember giving you Dikya. Dikya means like to give Sikya, to give Hukam, to give Updesh. And so Bhagat Kabeer Ji says, yes, I know that we have never met officially, but then listen to what I have to say. And so they started their Sakhi off when the Sadhu asked Bhagat Kabeer Ji that who is your guru? And so Bhagat Kabeer Ji is telling Bhagat Ramanand Ji that from that day on, I only wanted to have a guru who would give me the Updesh to do Ram Simran, to do Simran of Paramatma. And they say that Kya mango kich thir nahi, Ram naam rakha man mahi. Kya mango, what else should I ask for? Kich thir nahi, nothing else permanent in this world. Kuch rehne wala, everything is gonna come and go. Ram naam rakha man mahi. So all I wanted was that Ram, that name of Paramatma, that is permanent, and I want to keep that in my mind. I want to enshrine that in my mind, in my heart. And for this purpose, I came to get the Dikya, to get that mantra from you. And so they told the Sakhi of what happened when it was 1 a.m. at night, in the middle of the night, Amrit Vela. So Bhagat Ramanand Ji is coming, and they bumped into Bhagat Kabeer Ji and said that, Utho Bhagat, Ram da Simran karo. So upon listening to the whole Sakhi, then Bhagat Ramanand Ji, they just think about it for a while. They became quiet, and then Bhagat Ramanand Ji, they knew that this person here, Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they are not like anybody else. They are pure, their heart is pure, and they are really a Bhagat of Paramatma, because all they want is to do Simran. They are unlike all these Pandits, they are unlike all these Brahmins here who claim to be Bhagat, but they are not. They are just barley, jime kehne asi dekha dekhi di bhakti karte hai. So Bhagat Ramanand Ji then said that, you are fine, I agree that I've given you that Dikya, so from now on you are my disciple. And you have to follow my Upadesh, which is to do Simran of Ram. And then Bhagat Ramanand Ji looked at the Pandits, looked at the Brahmin, and said that, from now on, he's my student, and you can't say anything to him. Even though he's Julaha, even though he's Kabir Julaha, but he's also Kabir Ram da Pyara. Means he's also the beloved of Ram, the beloved of Vaheguru. So you can't say anything to him. And so the Pandits, so instead of humiliating Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they themselves got humiliated, and you should see their faces. They were like red and angry. They might just explode at that moment. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji, looking at this, they just smiled, and then they say to this Brahmin, they say, Pandya, kavana kumata tumalage. They say, oh Pandit, kavana kumata tum lage. What kind of mat? Kumata means here, mari mata, like pedi mata, bad kind of thinking ideology. What kind of ideology, what kind of bad thinking have you adopted? What kind of bad mata are you following? Then they say, Budhoge parvar sakal syo ramna jab ho apage. Budhoge means you're gonna drown. Parvar sakal syo, you're gonna drown in this maya, in this world with your family. You're gonna drown, and you're gonna take your family along with you. Ramna jab ho apage. Apage here means, oh you unfortunate person, you are not doing bhakti of Ram, you're going to drown in this maya rupi kaljuk if you don't do bhakti. And so upon listening to this, the Pandits just walked off from that place. And so Bhagat Kabeer Ji, because these Bhagats who are Bhagats of Paramatma, they don't get affected by Nindya, they don't get affected by praise. Guru Tegh Bahadur speaks about it as well. In their Bani, they say that where Nindya and Ustad, one is not affected by them, that those are the Bhagats of Paramatma, those are the Jan of Paramatma. So now we continue where Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they are going through their life as per normal. They are still doing their work of weaving, making kapde, and at the same time, they are also doing Bhakti of Paramatma. They started wearing Bhagwe kapde, as I mentioned yesterday as well. So one day what happened was that, because for them to put food on their table for the family, they have to sell their kapde, they have to sell the cloth that they have weaved. So one day what happened was that this was a prikya, this was a test from Paramatma to see to what extent Bhagat Kabeer Ji would do seva of the sadhus, would serve these people. Because one is to do seva of Paramatma by doing Nam Simran, the other is to be able to see Paramatma in everybody. So one day this poor sadhu, we can say that he was almost naked, only his private parts were covered and all. And he looked so weak, he looked so poor. He came to Bhagat Kabeer Ji, and at that time Bhagat Kabeer Ji, he had just woven his kapda, a cloth, and he was going to go to the market to sell it, to get some money so that he could buy groceries and bring them home. So they bumped into each other in the middle of the road, and then Bhagat Kabeer Ji looked at the sadhu and said, Sadhu Ji, are you okay? You look really weak. And the sadhu says that, I can see some cloth on you. And look at me, I'm almost naked. I have nothing to cover my body. It's cold. I'm shivering. My body is old. Could you give me this kapra that you have so I could make a toti? I can, cover myself and I can keep myself warm. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they say that, of course, this is not even mine in the first place. Ye jara kapra ya, ye mera hi niga. Everything that I have is given to me by Ram. So who am I to keep it? This might be the hukum of Ram for me to pass this cloth to you. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji now, they give the kapra to the sadhu, and they parted from there. And now Bhagat Kabeer Ji is thinking, "Hone main khana kitthon liaunga? Where am I going to get groceries for my family?" And so, but one thing is that they think about it, but then फिर Bhagat फिर फिक्र भी नहीं करते because they have left everything in the hands of Paramatma, है ना? So they said, चलो कोई ना, जरा होगा देखी जाओ. Even our old people, like our grandparents, their generation, I've realized as myself that my grandparents, I've lived with them, and whenever there will be a sankat, wherever there will be a difficulty in the family or a problem, financial problem, or someone have, talk bad about you, or kuch ho gaya, jere sade generation la the youth, we would be worrying about ho ki hoga, what do we need to do now? We start planning out the solutions and action plan. But then these jere sade grandparents, their generation, when I looked at them, and I always remember my bappa, my grandfather, he would always say, koi na jera hoga rab dekh luga, koi na rab ape dekh luga. And then if now we try to think of that, we say like, what do you mean koi na, But sometimes it's really good because we have that faith that I leave everything in the hands of my guru, and my guru is going to protect me because they are going to care for me. Bani vich vi likhya, sir sir kis mahe thakur kahe man pao kare. So Kabir Ji's situation was like this. And so they decided that they'll just go home and they'll see what happens next. And so Bhagat Kabeer Ji is doing Simran of Ram and they are heading back home. Once they reached home, their mother and their wife, Mata Loi Ji, comes forward and say that, Kabir, what happened? Tusi ta thoda hi kapda leke gaye sige. You only brought like a little of this kapda to sell in the market, but then you have brought back so much of ration. Kyo, atta, khanda is so much, is worth to 2 months worth of ration you have brought back. Someone came and dropped them off because they said that you needed there's too much things, so this person with a cart came and dropped all this ration off. And so Bhagat Kabeer Ji got shocked and he went in, he looked at the kitchen, he looked at all the groceries that were there, and he believed that at that time that Ram ne meri laaj patte rakh li, that Paramatma has taken care of my honor, and because I've done that seva without even thinking twice whether I should give or not, and then let Paramatma worry for me, they actually did my work for me. They actually did keep my honor and protected my family. And at that instant, Bhagat Kabeer Ji thought of the Sakhi of Bhagat Sudama and Krishna Bhagwan. So I've told this Sakhi as well, where Sudama Ji came to ask for something, but then they forgot completely because they were so immersed in that love with Krishna Bhagwan. And when they went home, they were thinking about, oh, I was supposed to bring back money. I was supposed to bring back some gift for my family so that our poor life, could become better. But then when Sudama Ji came home, they saw that instead of a Tutyapa hut, a small hut, there was a palace, there was a bungalow, big bungalow with fountains, with gardens in that place. And Krishna Bhagwan has made that house for Sudama Ji. So also Bhagat Kabeer Ji's devotion, their faith increased so much that they never worried about anything at all. And in fact, from that day on, a lot of sadhus, a lot of these saints, that are sannyasis, that they do not stay in one place, they would always go around. A lot of sadhus started coming to eat in the house of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they started doing langar. Jera Maras Paramatma ne ration vi datta, they never kept it for themselves. In fact, they used it to then serve langar daily to these sadhus and to the villagers and whoever came to the house to have langar. So these news then went out in the village that Kabir Ji is doing so much bhakti, and they daily would have langar for these sadhus, and but they are so poor, ota julahaya, and where is he getting all this money from? Where is he getting all this ration from? So people started thinking about this, but then what happened was that news went to the Pandits, the same Brahmins who wanted to humiliate Bhagat Kabeer Ji in the first place. So jere Pandits sige Kasi de Pandits, they started thinking that how can a low caste person, have a yagga, have langar in his house? How dare he serve these sadhus with langar? Only high caste people, only Brahmins should be served with langar because, we are the one who decide what happens to the panth. We are the one who make decision. We are the one who give dikya. So they were speaking with so much ego, and they thought that, this time we will humiliate Bhagat Kabeer Ji. We are going to humiliate him. So they start doing nindya of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. Oh, apne aap nu vadda samjhda, julaha ya par paise kithon aaye, chori karda hoga, this kind of things, you know. And the Pandits, they wanted to destroy the relationship between Bhagat Kabeer Ji and the villagers who had so much faith and love towards Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So they were thinking ways to humiliate and bring down Bhagat Kabeer Ji. And then so what happened was that some of the villagers who had so much faith in Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they overheard these Pandits, these Brahmins doing nindya of Kabir Ji, and he came running and he told Kabir Ji, they say, Kabir Ji, thonu pata, do you know that these Pandits, they are trying to, you know, think of a plot to humiliate you. They're doing your nindya and they're trying to break you from the villagers. So they're talking so much bad things about you. And then here was when Bhagat Kabeer Ji also recited a Shabad that is in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and it's about nindya, it's about gossip. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji says, they say, Nindo, Nindo, Moko, Log Nindo. That they say, oh log, oh people, Nindo, Nindo, come on, slander me even more. You know, go ahead and slander me. Ninda Janko, Khari Pyari. Ninda, slander, Janko, he was referring to himself, Khari Pyari. That it's so beautiful to my ears to listen to my ninda, and I like when people do my ninda, do my gossip. Come on, so continue to do it. But someone, a logical person, we would say, would think about like, what are you talking about, man? Why would you want someone to talk bad about you? Why would you want someone to do gossip about you? But Bhagat Kabeer Ji here is saying that, listen to it. Why? So they go around, in the Shabad, they continue saying, you know, what ninda is. And then after it, towards the end, they say, Jan Kabir ko ninda sara. They say slander is the best thing for Kabir Ji. Why? Nindak duba hum utre par. Nindak duba, those people who gossip, who slander about me, duba, they drown, hum utre par, and I am saved. Why? Because what's happening is that when someone does gossip about us, they are taking our pap on their shoulder. So whatever, you know, mare karam we might have committed, by other people doing nindya of us, they are taking those bad accounts on their own account. So they're adding more karam into their account and they're washing off our sins for us. So you will realize that if we read the Sakhis, the life story of a lot of sadhus, a lot of Santahana, Mahapurkha in this time, like for example, Bhavanand Singh Ji, Pairanti Ji, Rama Singh Ji, all these Gursikhs, you read their stories, a lot of Santa Mahapurush, they would do certain things that was beyond normal Sangat's understanding. And then so what would happen is that Jere Sangat Sadde Varge, they would start doing nindya. They would say that, oh, how can he call himself a Santa, you know, but he's doing all these kind of things. But we don't know that maybe that was some ways for them so that they could check, they could see how much faith we have in this and the saints, how much bharosa we have that these are the Gursikhs of Paramatma. And so they would do some kind of things that was beyond our logical understanding, and we was ended up doing nindya of these saints and then take up their karam on us. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying, Nindo, Nindo, Mokulog, Nindo. Come on, let them slander me even more because they're washing my sins for me. So Nindak duba, hum utre par. These Nindak, these slanderers, they will drown in Maya, they will drown in this world that is Narak Saman, and hum utre par, and I will be saved. So what happened was that after a few days, the Pandits, the Brahmins, they came to the house of Kabir Ji and rudely told Bhagat Kabeer Ji that, you know, tu langar chalaunda ya, assi vi aaya te assi dekhde kinna ka vadya tera langara. So we have come now and we want to see how great is your langar. How come you didn't invite us? Because it's a ritual, it's a tradition that you must invite Pandits and high caste Brahmins to have langar in your house. So now we are here, give us langar and give us dakshana, give us a gift or money, you know. And what happened was that these Brahmins, they came not in the counts of like 1 to 10, but in many people came. So for example, like it was counts of 40, 50 people. You can think, na jara ek wari inne sare log kare aa jande, and you can't have that, you don't have that much rush and groceries in your house to prepare food for almost, we can say 80 to 100 people. So these many Brahmins, Pandits came to the house, but their sole purpose was to humiliate Bhagat Kabeer Ji because they know that Kabir Ji would not be able to prepare food for almost 100 people. Then Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they're listening to all this. They know that ehi sige jinna ne sadi nindya kiti. So then they told the Pandits, they said, Chalo, eh je Ram di ahi isha, ajo kare ajo and thanu langar shikaunde hain. They said that if this is the wish of my Ram, of my Paramatma, come in and I'll serve you langar. And so the Pandits, they came in, and Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they said that I will wash your hands and your feet for you before you sit down in Pangat, and I'll serve you langar. So they went in, and Mata Loi Ji, their wife, they looked from inside the kitchen and they saw so many Pandits outside. They asked their husband, they said, Sade ghar ration bhi hai nahi, groceries hai nahi, assi khilavange ki what are we going to feed these people, these Brahmins? We have nothing at home. And then Bhagat Kabeer Ji says, why are you worrying for? Ram has brought these Pandits themselves to this house, and Ram is the one who's going to protect and who's the one's going to feed them. Don't worry about it. Then Bhagat Kabeer Ji's wife, Mata Loi Ji, says that, what are we going to feed them? Are we going to feed them Ram Naam? Should we just feed them the name of Paramatma? Then Bhagat Kabeer Ji, listening to this, go like, that is a really good idea. That's what we're going to feed them. We're going to feed them the Pojan of Ram Naam. And Mata Loi Ji was like, that was not what I meant. Was what food are we going to give them? And Bhagat Kabeer Ji says, don't worry about it. There's some mithai that I bought previously for some of the sadhus, but they didn't end up coming. So we can feed these Brahmins those mithanya. So there are some sweets in the back kitchen. Go and get them and feed this to the sadhus. And Mata Loi Ji, she went to the back of the kitchen, and to her surprise, the whole room was filled with trays of sweets, dishes, and all kinds of food on the trays. And on each food, there was like barfi, laddu, or whatever it would be, puri. There was literally the name of Ram written on it. And Mata Loi Ji was in shock. They came out, they saw their husband, who was smiling all the way because they had so much faith that Ram ne hi sara kuch karna, mainu kuch karan di lod hi nahi. And so they served these foods to the Brahmins, to the Pandits, and the Pandits, the Brahmins, they got shocked that inna khana kitthon aa gaya, what is happening? We are here to humiliate Kabir Ji, but itthe ta sadi bezti hui jandi hai. And so the Pandits, the Brahmins, they quietly ate this food, and also within, because when they were going to eat the food, the laddu, ode upar Ram likhya hoya, so they would look at that food, look at that laddu, for example, and then think that this person here is not just a normal person. He really is the Bhagat of Paramatma, because the name of Ram is in every food here. So then the Pandits, they ate those food, quietly khande gaye, te nale andar pashtawa bhi hunda si. They were also regretting from within that why have we come here to humiliate him the second time? And the second time Paramatma has kept his honor, and we are now being humiliated. So before going home, each one of the Pandits got 1 rupee as a gift, a token, because it's like giving gift to people before they go home. And so each one of the Brahmin, they got a rupee as a gift from Bhagat Kabeer Ji. Where that money came from, I think we know that Paramatma themselves provided all this. And so this Pandits, this Brahmin, then thought that we cannot do anything to him because he is in the protection of Paramatma. So they stopped doing Nindya of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. They stopped trying to plot ways to humiliate Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So they accepted that Bhagat Kabeer Ji, we are not up to level of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So in Bhagat Kabeer Ji's Bani, they also say, Jai Deo Nama Bepasudama Tinko Kirpa Pai Hai Apar. So now after this whole situation, Bhagat Kabeer Ji is contemplating of what happened. That Ram ne meri fair ijjat pat rakh li, and they say, Jai Deo Nama Bepasudama Tinko Kirpa Pai Hai Apar. So they are saying that Paramatma has done so much kirpa on Bhagat Jai Dev Ji, Bhagat Nam Dev Ji, Sudama Ji. Keh Kabir tum samrath date. So now Kabir Ji is saying that you, O Paramatma, samrath date, that you are the great giver. You are the one who give everyone things, give things to everyone, provide for everyone. Char padartha detna bar. Char padarth means we have the 4 cardinal blessings like Taram, Artha, Kam, and Mokh. So for example, Artha is the one where we get all this wealth, possessions, And then so char padarth detna bar, and then when you give char padarth, when you give these blessings to your Bhagat, detna bar, you do not even delay for an instant. Quickly, instantly, you would provide for your Bhagats whenever they need something, and you protect their honor. So this was the 3 Sakhis of Bhagat Kabeer Ji for today, how they were able to speak to Bhagat Ramanand Ji, and then the Pandits, the first time they failed in humiliating Bhagat Kabeer Ji, and then how Bhagat Kabeer Ji passed the test by Paramatma Bairam, where they became Dani, they became so compassionate towards that poor sadhu and gave up everything. And then lastly was the second time these Brahmins, they tried to humiliate Bhagat Kabeer Ji by doing their Nindya and coming to the house to have langar in such a big group. But even then, Paramatma protected the honor of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So tomorrow we are going to look at the 3rd part of their life story, and this time is getting harder and harder because now they're going to go through a lot of physical horror, a lot of physical test, painful test, which determines their faith towards Paramatma as well. So I hope today's Sakhi was inspirational, that we know a bit more about the life of Bhagat Kabeer Ji and how their Shabads, how their Bani came out from these life situations that we're in. So please forgive me for any mistakes I've made. Hope to have your darshan again tomorrow. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.